stay real close till the end. Forgiving each other, letting love cover. Always sisters, always friends. We have to live in harmony, even though we may disagree. 'Cause fighting each other is not the answer. Sharing the grace with you. Let's be enriched with peace and love. Letting compassion from above. Never forsake.
Woo! All right, we're back. Want to thank you. Well, that was an awesome show. Did you all enjoy that? It was. I mean, it was like musical chairs as usual, but we survived another wonderful, wonderful Saturday first half, and now we're going into our second half. Yes. Today, we're talking about mental health. We all have to stop, woosah, take a deep breath, because I know I need to take one right now. We have some wonderful guests here. Oh, and we have our fourth sister here.
Yes.
Got our fourth sister live, and Peggy, thank you for such an exciting show. And why? Hey, wait a minute now. Somebody's missing. That butterfly flew out the door. Charlie? Another engagement.
Yes.
What's a mother to do?
On the run.
Well, happy Mother's Day again to all you mothers. I know you're getting ready for tomorrow to relax and do nothing, right? And all you wonderful children, please make sure they do not too much. Okay? Don't make them cook their dinner. Rub their feet, give them a hot bath tonight. Make sure you run the water for them, Go to church, say special prayers for mom, okay?
That's right.
And everyone who's not a mom, pray for them if they were your intervenient mom. They were your mom that entered into your life just to take care of you, because God sends us a comforter, God sends us a helper, and he sends us another mother. So I'd like to thank everybody. Well, we have an awesome show coming. Ooh, mental health. We're going to fire it up. Number one, I just want to say, I brought this out just to start us up. Okay, y'all wondering, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
What is this?
What is it?
You need things that's going to help distract you from that day. And this right here is something I have. And, to get my little exercises. So today, stress reliever. We're going to talk about exercise today, because I know there are different ways that we can de-stress, right? Mm-hmm. On the first half, we talked about golf. And I've never been golfing, but, I admire those who go golfing, because they go out in the woods. They go out with that green, all that godly stuff, nothing but godly green and godly blue skies, and that's relaxing in itself.
On the golf course.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start off with that. I want you to be thinking about, because that's a question I'm going to ask. What do you do to de-stress? How do you get rid of that mental knot and kind of loosen it right out? I'm thinking I'm in New York now. Our wonderful, our presenters today, I'm going to introduce, we have Miss Kim Capris. Am I pronouncing it right?
Absolutely.
Kim
Yes,
Capis, author, motivational speaker. She has a story to tell us, you all. And, of course, John Smith. John Smith. How can I forget that name?
Right?
John Smith. That's because I'm so excited. And I'm so
John
Smith
thank you.
Jr. He's an RN, and he has this wonderful mental health information he's going to give us, and information on his facility and the facility that he's affiliated with. And we have someone here who talks about the love connection. Yes. And that's Miss Cynthia Green. Cynthia and her husband, they have an awesome business, and she's going to tell us how our couples can get mentally de-stressed. So this is going to be, go and tell your friends. Those persons, include yourself, once you sit in front of voxwave.com, tell everybody to go and watch, because you're going to learn something today. So you're going to learn how to de-stress. And you're also going to learn that you're not the only person that's stressed. We're all stressed. Like I said, some form or other, but we have to learn how to de-stress. And I'm going to show you different ways today, and we're going to tell you different ways to de-stress right at home. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with Kim. Kim, give us some info. Give us your story. Tell us why you're here, and tell us how to de-stress, how you dealt with distress.
Okay. Well, I'm here because Miss Kathy Muhammad, who's from Sisters for Sisters Network.
Yes, our very own Kathy Muhammad. Yes.
Woo woo. Kathy.
Yeah, Kathy.
Thank you so much.
Kathy's a busy mom. She's at another event today. Yes.
She's awesome. And thank you so much, Peggy, for allowing me to have this platform.
A member of Sisters for Sisters.
Yes, she is. Woo woo. Yeah, yes. Right.
Yeah. So thank you guys for having me here. I don't take this platform lightly. So you asked the question, how does I de-stress?
Yes. Well, just first give us your story and tell us. Give us your story.
Okay.
That's
okay. Awesome. Well, first I want to say, because I heard quite a few people here talking about how old their mom is. So Peggy mom is 85.
Wow.
The other person said something about 75, Nina. And to me, that is long life.
That's long life. That's long life. Yes.
And you're talking about me coming from a background of suicide, depression and oppression, where I never thought to even think that I would live to see 75, 85, not even 30.
Ooh.
30 years. Yeah, like I said, I come from a background of suicide, depression. I've been depressed for over a decade. Not now. I'm not depressed now. I'm not suicidal. Not now.
All right. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Yes.
God is a deliverer. And so, like I said, I was suicidal and depressed for more than a decade. Majority of my childhood life, more than my adolescent life, all the way up until I want to say my late 20s. My late 20s. I come from a background of where I was rejected, where I was abandoned from my parents. And so I believe that was a big portion of, suicidal coming in. Yeah. But also, too, I found out, as I have conquered suicidal, that my mom and them, somewhere in our bloodline, my mom, my grandmother, or somebody was also suicidal. So it was also generational.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely generational. Majority of my life, especially during my teenage years, up until my mid 20s, late 20s. My life was a dark world. It was a really dark abyss. It was dark as these blinds right here.
Wow.
Really. I stayed in isolation a lot. I didn't want to be around anybody a lot. I cried a lot. There was also times I just had really high levels of imaginations of killing myself, to the point of even jumping off a bridge. I recall there were several times that I went to a local cemetery that was in Maryland. I'm sure a lot of you all probably know about it, but some of you may not.
No.
But I went to the cemetery on not once, not twice, maybe like 4 occasions. And on those bouts, it was at a point where it was like, God, just take my life. I don't want to be here anymore. I do not want to be here anymore. I mean, there were hours. I literally sat there for hours inside the cemetery, just crying out, God, take my life. I don't want to be here anymore. I can't do it. I can't do this, this motherhood. And then, not only that, I had my first child at 14. So it was a number of a culmination of things that have led it up to me wanting to take my own life. So I had my first child at 14. I was always told that I was never going to amount to anybody. By 20, I already had 3 kids. So it was a number of culmination of things that have led up to suicidal ideation and depression and oppression, and it was just my life was a mess. Outside I appeared to be normal,
like we all yes.
Within I was a mess. I was in a lot of inner hurt, inner pain, inner turmoil, and it was I wasn't one to reach out to anyone. I wasn't one to reach out for help, because the stigma that if you reach out for help, that you're crazy. Wow. Something is something is wrong.
And in our community, that's what we call it, crazy.
Crazy,
and we're not crazy. That's just a word that we need to take out of our vocabulary, because our children will repeat that as well. And we're not crazy.
Absolutely.
And we have to. And there has been a stigma in our community. Bennett mentioned a psychologist or psychiatrist, you
You're
know,
crazy,
because
yeah.
then you're crazy.
That's why we
You
don't
know,
seek help, because we're criticized.
right,
so
we
heavily.
right,
Yeah.
and we have to be
Yeah.
more loving to our family and friends who are going through.
Yeah.
You know something is wrong, and we have to learn to help them. Ask them questions. Tell me, how did you overcome, or where are you in your dealing with your mental health now?
Awesome question.
How? Yeah, that's
Awesome
what we
question.
want to.
What was
Right,
what was
turning
my
point.
That was the
Point,
question.
yes.
What was my turning point? That's awesome. My turning point. One day I was in the house and I heard the lyrics to this song called "I Shall Live and Not Die,"
Oh, okay.
and that was a song by, what is his name? Nelson. Jason Nelson.
Jason Nelson.
Jason
Oh
Nelson
yeah,
song.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, that song, when I heard that in the living room, of my
It was
home,
for you.
That song brought life
See?
to me. That right there, that was
Those songs are in
that
the
was
air.
that was I mean, that was so much life to me, and it so resonated with my spirit because it was word. That Psalms 117, 18. So that's why it resonated with my spirit, you know, so much. And at that moment, I was like, "That's it, God. That's it. That's it." And at that moment, I mean, I began to, you know, I was already weak because a lot of my days were just in high levels of crying. At nighttime, I wrestled with a lot of demonic spirits. A lot of demonic spirits, where some nights I probably didn't even get that much sleep, you know, because I'm constantly, you know, wrestling and so forth. And throughout the day, I'm lethargic because I done fought with these demons all throughout, you know, the night. And so, like I said, one day hearing that song, that was a turning point for me. I began to, you know, cry out that song and really begin to declare and decree that I shall live and I shall not die, to declare the works of the Lord.
Wonderful.
And I just kept, you know, kept adding. And let me say this, in the beginning part of it, even though I was weak, I still had enough courage within to say I shall live and not die. And so at that point, I just kept confessing. And then not only that point too, I had moved my family to a new church home. So that was another turning point. So, and at that point, first I want to say kudos to Dr. Didi and Apostle Mike Freeman, because they were my pastors. They still are my pastors. They were the one who taught me how to fight.
And then the name of your church, what's the name?
The name of my church is Spirit of Faith.
Spirit of Faith. Yeah, I've heard of them. Yes.
Yeah, so
I've
they
been
were
there.
the ones who taught me how to fight, because I was fighting something bigger than me. These were spirits that I was fighting.
Right.
And these were spirits
Those
that my mom
principalities that we don't see, they're there, but we have to fight them.
Absolutely.
No matter what, we still have to fight them.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
you've been through your fight, and I know you're still dealing with, but you're knocking them over now,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Those
Yes,
giants,
absolutely.
they're like going to fall.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much,
yeah,
Kim.
so that was-
Let's give her a
Thank you for
hand.
sharing that
Sharing that story, yeah, because
It's a great story.
we all have a story,
Yeah,
and you
right.
know, but you gotta let that story out because you're not the only one,
Yeah.
and everyone needs to know that. And you have to teach. We have to teach our children. If they're dealing with voices in their head, because we all have them, you know, some of them are not positive. So those voices that we hear, it's normal, but it's not normal. So you have to distinguish between the two and know how to deal with that. I know you're going to, John is going to tell us, right, how to deal with these voices and how to deal with mental illness. So we're going to take a break. And we're going to come back. Just give us 2 minutes. And once you go, tell somebody. Watch VOXWave.com. That's VOXWave without the E.com. Go to and just let them know that help is on the way.
Yes.
All right. That's good.
Always sisters, always friends. Let's stay real close till the end. Forgiving each other, letting love cover. Always sisters, always friends. We have to live in harmony, even though we may disagree. 'Cause fighting each other is not the answer. Sharing the grace. close to the edge. Take it real close, giving each other, letting love flow. Always sisters, always friends. Really gotta learn to love each other. I need to stick real close.
Right, come on, y'all. Woo! All right. Happy Saturday, y'all. Happy Saturday. We're dealing with mental health. We're dealing with our mental health, ladies and gentlemen. We all go through, we all have our daily stresses, and we just have to learn. And I have a whole list of things that we can do. Before we go to our next speaker, let's pull out some of these things that we're going to do. Number one, pull out some of your old exercise equipment that is collecting dust and clothes and get on it today. Okay? That's one thing we want you to do.
And I just did that.
You did that, right? Because I know you saw that infomercial and you said, "Oh wow, I want to get that because I want to start exercising."
Exactly.
Okay, there. That's what I did. Okay, that's what I did. Okay, all right. It's supposed to help the arms and all that. Okay. Well, you know, it stays in my drawer. Okay.
Right. I pulled my weights out of the garage and I started walking on Monday. And Monday I didn't think I could do the weights, but on Tuesday I dusted those weights off from the garage and have my little hand weights in my hand while I'm walking.
All right, y'all. Come on, y'all. Give her a hand for that. We're going to get out. I want you. That's right. So we're going to all have a testimonial here before we. Okay, the next thing I have, pull out the exercise CDs, and we're going to have a sister who's supposed to call out. One of our sister, Connie, she gave me this idea, and you know, I used to do it about 4 years ago. You know, those walk, you can walk 1 to 5 miles right in your home.
That's right. Yes.
Right in your office. Because I thought, you know, it was always on CD.
Right.
Hey, now you can go to YouTube. Okay,
That's right.
Go to YouTube. YouTube has everything. So it's no excuse, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because you know you all are eating too much too. We got to burn it up. It's time to put the little swimsuits on and the shorts, and we want everything kind of tight.
Yeah. Just a little bit
Just
tight.
a little tight, you know. Act like you're really trying, okay?
That's right.
So we got another one here. We want you to drink plenty of water.
Oh, my God.
Water,
Right
we got the water here.
Right here.
I just dropped by, but plenty, hydrate, because believe it or not, if you drink a lot of water, and especially alkaline water, because that's what I drink, and it helps burn the fat. So drink more water. It helps flush your system. It's going to make you feel better. So mentally, you're going to feel better when you drink a lot of water. Okay. Right. And something else. Then we're going to move on. What was that? Go ahead. You got one?
Do something fun like dancing.
Dancing. That was the other one.
Really great exercise.
I think I had that on my list too.
Somewhere. To go dancing. You can turn on your music at home. I love to turn on my music while I'm doing housework.
It is dancing of all types.
And I'm dancing. I wipe a little bit and I dance a little bit. And I wipe a little bit and I dance.
I do salsa sometimes. I love salsa. I love that Latin music. And you get to really moving everything. Line dancing. That's really good too. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, keep this in mind, and we're going to go through this list again. John?
Yeah.
It's on you, man. John, tell us about you. All right, John, confess up. John Smith Jr., he's one of our Sister for Sister Network men in the house. Come on, give him a hand. We have men in our house. Every house should have at least one man. So, John, you're in today. Tell us about you and your business and your books. You've done so much. You can tell it all.
Well, that's a good question, and I want to thank you, Linda, for having me here, and also Peggy and Sister for Sister for coming out here. For me, everybody has a story, and for me, I think my story kind of go all the way back when I was back in Africa, actually in Liberia. That's when I grew up, and when I was growing up, my upbringing is not like you and I or everyone living in America, how I say like a stable, so to speak, education and all that stuff. So when I was like 14, 15, the war broke out. Then I was involved in that war, and I barely completed my 12th grade. Now when I got through my 12th grade, I was actually trying to survive, so to speak. So hiding under the beds for 2-3 days sometimes just to survive, and looking for ways just to get something to eat is huge.
Yeah.
So I went through that. It's just a lot of stress, challenges, and all that. So fortunately, I was able to come to this country in 2001. So which is awesome. I was thankful to God for that.
Yeah.
So, like any other person, we all got this American dream. We want to, have in our own place and all that stuff. So I do have that dream as well. I want to go back to school, which is my major goal because I never had that chance. So I want to be an engineer. That was my goal. So when I got here, 2-3 months down the line, then I got injured at work. So I got set back. So I was rushed to Providence Hospital. And fortunately, I was able to survive that ordeal when the doctors and nurses over there were able to kind of help me out, and I went through surgery and all that. So that was the point when I actually had an epiphany that I need to give something back in the healthcare industry. Yeah. But I don't know what it is, but I need to do something. So I was, for almost 7 months, I couldn't do nothing. I got cars from here all the way here. I can't do nothing, I'm just home. So all that period, I was just reading and learning and looking at different things, what I can do to kind of help people. Yeah. So at that point, I decided to go to school to be a nurse. So I became an RN in 2006. And then from there, I went and get my bachelor's degree in 2007 at the University of Maryland in Baltimore. So even with that, I still feel that I need to do something and be able to, help out. So all that time, I used to work at mental unit. Then from there, I work at tele unit. Then from there, I work at actually mental health psychiatry unit. I did that for like 4 to 5 years. So that's where the passion with the mental health kind of comes in place. And I heard you when you say that everybody kind of has some mental issue. Yes, we all do.
Yes, we do.
But it's all about how can you deal with it.
Right.
Because when I came to this country, believe it took me 2-3 years before I could actually be stable. Because every time I heard a little sound, I was thinking that people are bombing, they are like shooting, or they're trying to attack.
Yes.
So it took me a while to get that off my mind. Because I used to that sound, any sound that sound like an RPG. All those machine guns
coming from a war zone,
right?
From your country,
absolutely.
And then we just had 9/11. Was that somewhere around that time?
2 months down, 9/11 broke out.
9/11. So you think it's war here too?
Right, I know. So it was very, very challenging, and I got a lot of sometimes I got depressed sometimes, like you mentioned, but it's just about how can you deal with that,
right?
And you always got this inner voice that tells you, oh, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, it's not you, not me, and all that. So I get that. But when that happens, to your question, I know you have that question, but like, how do I deal with that? Right. One of the things that I do is just basically what some of the things you kind of mentioned, the list of exercising and all that stuff.
Right, right.
Because every time I'm depressed or I have some kind of feeling that is negative, the next thing I do is that I go to the gym.
Go to the gym. There you go.
Hands down. I go to the gym and I work out like 3 to 4, so about 3 to 4 hours. But sometimes it just 40 minutes.
All right, ladies.
And all that stuff. Sometimes 30 minutes. Depending, but I gotta go somewhere and do something.
Right.
That's right.
So
right.
So
working like a beast.
Exactly. You got it.
Beat it out of your. Beat
So by the time I get it out, so this is what happened during that time. You switch your chemical balance, because what causes that mental stuff is a chemical in your brain, in your mind, that actually interrupt, that causes that, all those depression. So when you exercise, you switch that, you release the endorphin and dopamine and some of all those very good hormone in your body, and that switch that around. And when that switch that around, then you see yourself being able to do a lot more and be able to start having a positive thinking and start thinking positively, and then you see yourself in a different environment completely. So that is kind of the way I kind of work on that. And then you ask question about the business.
Yes.
All right.
So did you turn the mental illness and how to help people into a business? Is this how you started? Tell us how you got started.
Okay, so as I was saying, so when I was actually I used to work at hospital center.
Okay.
And so one of the things that for me personally is that I do not like to be around those people who are negative. Because I'm always positive person,
right.
And I believe that when you have a positive energy, that can actually get you do what you can do.
Right.
But when you have one person who is negative, guess what? You need about 30 more positive to beat that one negative.
That's right.
Right.
Pull you down,
Yes.
So
whole room.
So when I was in the hospital,
The spirit. It's
so
the spirit.
all the staff, the nurses, every time they always talk about how terrible the hospital is, how terrible everybody is, and how this. I was like, okay.
And they're taking care of the sick.
Yeah, I know, right? So,
Wow.
They sick
Wow.
themselves.
Yeah.
Sick themselves.
40 years, 30 years, they've been working, complaining, nobody want to change. So at some point, I got so tired, I'm like, you know what, I'm done. I just went to my manager and said, I'm resigning today. She was like, okay, John, do you realize that if you resign, you can come back? So you got to give 2 weeks. I said, okay, 2 weeks.
2 weeks, y'all. That's all we need.
So I gave it 2 weeks. Then
Yeah.
after giving it 2 weeks, then I told my wife, she was like, what are we going to do now? I said, I don't know, but we figure things out. So I started thinking about what I can do. Then I started the business. And then we actually started with home care.
Oh, okay.
Caring for seniors who need assistance at home. And that come about because we got so many people in the community. Like when I was in hospital, I don't even know those nurses and doctor from Adam. But they took care of me like I'm their family member. So for me, my goal is how can I give back to those who are voiceless?
Yes.
To those who are vulnerable, those who cannot care for themselves. So we started with that in Maryland, then we expand to DC. Then after that, then we started doing case management with the healthcare finance. We got a contract with that. So at this time, we have over 500 patients in DC we case manage, and we help to keep them at home. So during that period, then we start looking at mental health. Some of this population, they have some mental issue. It could be even the older population, they got a lot of mental issue that have depression when the kids is out. Okay, they lost their job, the depression is there, loneliness is there, and all that stuff. Sometimes these folks are misdiagnosed.
Okay.
So they misdiagnose them and think that they have this dementia, whereby it's depression, okay, or something, and all that. So now that gets us into that. So last year we started looking at, okay, how can we start that? And fortunately this year, so we got approved to be a mental health provider in DC.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. You know, I was looking at your information, and it says nearly 25,000 people in the district were diagnosed with having mental health disorders. That's just was that just in
District of Columbia?
In the District of Columbia. So we have PG.
Yep.
So just imagine all around us.
It's a lot of work.
Right, the DMV, just like all other cities, we have those stresses and, those triggers that cause us to do things. One question I wanted to ask you about the youth, the facilities, and do you work with young people as well? And what do you see as far as what type of mental disorders are youth experiencing?
For most of the youth, the program we're starting now, we're actually starting from 18 and above. So, but the trends that we kind of see in that, as mentioned, I used to work at mental health facility for over 5 to 6 years. Okay. So after with so many youth, sometimes you see 2-3 years old child. Wow. And I'm going to tell you a story.
2-3.
Quick, short story. There was one 4-year-old boy that I was providing service for when I used to work at a facility. This little boy killed his father with a gun.
4 years?
4 years.
4 years old?
He went and actually, this boy got in the car and drove the car, and he was arrested and took to that car. And eventually went and, this little boy already has killed about 3 or 4 people already.
What?
So when he came in there to our facility, if they tell you that this boy has, I was reading his like history. I was like, okay, are they talking about this little boy or somebody else? Okay.
The charts must have gotten mixed up, right?
Exactly. Maybe that's a mistake.
Highly unusual.
Right.
Yeah,
So
really.
so the point is that so eventually we start looking to that. So when you start seeing that, then you go back to the parent. You go back to society, to environment. Because that has a lot of impact in youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the young ones, any young one that has a mental illness, like you ask what type, schizophrenia, depression, suicidal ideation, and all those things, they all go back to the parents. They all go back to society. It goes back to people, to their upbringing.
On what they've experienced.
What they've experienced.
Right.
So what they experience now translates into what is actually happening in the real life.
Wow.
Actually happening. So when we started this program, as mentioned, we just got started. So we look at this area, we call it mental health integrated program. That's what we're looking at. So we're not just looking at just mental health. We are looking at other things that causes that. What triggers that? It's not just about, give this person a Geodon or give this person an injection and all that stuff. Okay, let's look at what causes that.
What's the root?
The root.
The root.
Right.
Right. It
So-
started way back.
Can't medicate the surface.
Exactly.
right.
So we can give the medication, they're fine with that, they come back. They give medication, they're fine with that, they come back. But let's go to the root cause. Why do they have this? So when you know the trigger, like you mentioned some of the trigger, I listen to a lot of triggers that causes that, your child and all those things, they're all depressed. Maybe plus now you don't have a job. Then that make it worse. Then you don't have a housing, then you make it worse and all that. So all those things are things that then causes that to be difficult and challenging.
Well, that's a lot to behold.
Yes, it is.
We're going to take a break and we're going to distress on that, woosah, and we'll be back in 2. Just tell someone to tune in because this is important for everybody.
Always sisters, always friends. Let's stay real close till the end. Forgiving each other, letting love cover. Always sisters, always friends. We have to live in harmony, even though we may disagree. 'Cause fighting each other is not the answer. Sharing the grace with you. Let's be enriched with peace and love. Letting compassion from above. Never forsaking, just understanding. Ain't that what families are made of? No matter what may come or go, no matter we stand together and it shows. This bond between us, foundation is trust. That's what you family's all about, yeah. Always sisters, always friends. Let's stay real close, till the end.
Y'all, woosah! Come on, y'all, woo! Big woosah! Thank God that we're here.
Yes.
Because so many, we walk past people, and we walk past adults, but we also walk by children every single day, and we don't know what they're dealing with. So we have to be we have to be more kind to each other, more loving, and please be more understanding when you see strange behavior, and I'm not sure how, you would be you're the professional. How should we deal with a young person and or an elderly person? What should we do first of all, and then give us some information about your facility, because maybe they might end up there for help.
Yeah, that's a good, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Actually, our office is in Northwest in D.C.
Okay.
143 Kennedy Street.
Connecticut?
Kennedy
Street.
So Second and Kennedy, by
Second and Kennedy,
opposite
Northwest.
CVS.
Northwest.
So over there we have like a clinics where people come for assessment. They come for counseling. Also, they come for what they call community support.
Okay.
So because it's difficult for you to fight that on your own. So when you come in, then we do the assessment, you get a diagnosis and everything, then we assign community support to work with you about 2 or 3 times in a week, every week, and to be able to receive those services and help you to cope and also help with your treatment plan.
And that's what we really,
Right.
really
And the good thing
need.
is that, like in District of Columbia, which I believe also in Prince George's as well as some other states, is Medicaid funded 100%.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good to know. Because that was a question I was going to ask about insurance and what covers, at your facility, because so many of us can't afford.
Right.
And we think we can't afford, and in actuality, maybe we can't.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why people don't go to seek mental health, because they think, I can't afford it.
Right.
But you can't afford not to.
That's right.
Right. You can't afford
Yes.
not to.
So basically, so that's what we, and actually officially, I just want to mention that on June 7th, that's what we actually having our grand opening for our program in DC, now DC office.
June 7th.
June
Put that on
7th,
your calendar.
So we're going to have some other people who will be coming out there, those in the community who can help to support and this program, because for us, it's much like is a societal issue that we have to deal with.
Right.
So it's not just about business and all that. So we are not looking at these folks as a commodity. They are not a commodity, but they are like people like you and I. Your family, my family, my people in our neighbor, in our society who need the help that they wanted.
We do.
So our goal is to make sure that those people who are number one underserved receive services. Those who are not able to come out to say, this is my issue, so that they can have that freedom to come and be able to say, this is my issue. Can you help me? Can you help me? So that is our drive, to make sure that we get them stabilized and also to point to live a healthy lifestyle. So those are our 2 goals with this program.
Okay, well, thank you so much for giving us that information. And remember that date, June the 7th was the kickoff,
Right.
and the address again?
143
Kennedy
Kennedy
Street,
Northwest. That's in DC.
Right, so that's good to
Yeah.
know.
And also, I want to mention, if you don't mind, actually, I have my book that's we're going to be launching on next week on the 15th
Got
of this month.
aging, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this
Aging in
it's
place.
Aging in place. So
I might have to go there.
So you go
Aging
online.
in place.
So you go online and you can that day on the 15th.
That looks like a loving. Okay. All right.
Maintaining an
independent lifestyle.
Thank you
so
much.
So on the 15th, you come in there. You can get 1 free. Go to Amazon and you're gonna get that free.
So you are
on that day.
All right. Thank you so much, John. We have a caller. Hello. Hello. Well, I thought we had a caller. Maybe that caller will call us right back. I'm going to give another one of those nuggets for mental health, how to deal with it. And I put on here yoga. And I put, of course, you had dancing. Crossword puzzles, Sudoku, word, good for the mind, and puzzles. Our sister, Sister Connie, who's going to maybe call and maybe not. She's attending a special event also. But she gave me that idea about the Sudoku, and she does puzzles. And then she takes her puzzles and she puts these 1,000-piece puzzles together and put them on the wall. And I'm sure her sister who's here, your mom does that too? Yeah, my mom used to do crossword puzzles and word find the word.
But I got let me add to this list. Another one to de-stress is lavender oil.
Lavender oil. Oh, yeah, that's right. Our oils.
Right.
Right.
For me personally, I take that and I rub it on my temples, and then you also can rub it on your paws.
Oh, okay.
And then also another way you can use lavender oil is you can take it and put it in your light bulb. The light
Oh
bulb.
yeah, and I keep lavender in my bedroom. I have one of those lavender spray, and I spray it over the light bulb.
Absolutely, lavender is
that's
really,
good.
Really, really good. You also can, they have different sprays out. You may check Bath and Body Works out. They have like a lot of they have a good line of aromatherapy.
Right.
And they have like lavender mist for your pillow and
Right,
stuff.
I have that too.
So
I have all that lavender stuff. I
yeah.
spray in my room, pillow and
so that is
sheets.
really good. Yeah, and also writing. Because I find when you write
journaling,
makes you feel
yeah,
light.
that's
One
good.
thing I've
you
learned is that the hand is a digital recorder for the brain.
Absolutely.
So when you're writing, you're exercising your brain,
That's
and
so
you're
good.
more apt to remember what you trying to remember when you write it down.
We're gonna roll into,
that's really
And then,
good.
then it also stops you from. I'm not saying that you don't tell anybody about what you're going through, but sometimes other people are going through, their own problems as well
Right.
too. And you know how sometimes people will tend to just dump all their, mess on somebody else. So why not put it on paper?
Put it on
Put
paper.
on paper.
Yeah.
Okay, Cynthia, we're going to go
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
you for we want to give you a little bit more time. Thank you so much for those suggestions because
Absolutely.
those are excellent suggestions.
Yeah.
Now the love connection.
Yes, I was going to segue from what the last thing that he said is that, I do a lot of research on marriage because that's just my passion, marriage and relationships. And so one of the things that I was reading recently is that marriage helps you to live longer.
Oh.
Like people who are married, they not only live longer, but they age really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Exactly. And so in the research that I've been doing, this is just so good because I'll tell you the negative part in just a second, but the positive part is because you have like a constant accountability partner, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have someone to be accountable to. And so I think about my husband and I, when we were first dating, I went to his place and I happened to look in his cabinets, just being nosy. He had all these boxes of, I won't name the types of food, but boxed foods. And so when we got ready to get married and combine our homes, I took all of his boxed what do you call those, like prepackaged meals?
Right,
or
right.
whatever,
Prepackaged.
and boxed them up and gave them away to charity, and so by him having that accountability with me, he lost a lot of weight, and he
Eating
just started
right,
eating
correct
healthier.
foods. That's right. You got to have someone there to kind of push you along and say,
Absolutely.
baby, sweetheart.
Right. So I'd love to encourage couples to be each other's
Yeah.
accountability partner in health and wellness.
Yes.
We've been talking about the different things that you can do, exercises and things to de-stress. So when you're married, you have a partner, get out and walk together.
Yes.
Do you know that just holding your mate's
Yes.
hand releases like these positive endorphins in
Right.
your body
That-
and
Pray
just
together.
That's
gives you
true.
this peace.
That
It's like
spirit,
a-
that
Right,
spirit
it's
is
a great
there.
stressor. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a neighbor last night and I said, you know what? To kind of break the ice with you and your husband when you're kind of like going through, I said, when he's sitting there watching TV, just go sit beside him like really close. Just let your shoulders, your arms just touch.
Right.
And you would be surprised.
Wow.
I bet you look at him, he's going to smile.
Okay.
And it will just break the ice. So sometimes we're stressing over
Right.
these arguments.
Right. And we get like this.
That's right. And these
We get like
different things
this.
we're going
Right.
through, and
right.
we get caught up in our mind of thinking all these negative things. I'm mad at him, or she's mad at me, and I can't. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. But if you just take the time to de-stress, like we've been saying, and woosah. So some of the
Woosah.
suggestions that we give couples when they're arguing and going through, I tell them before you say something out of your mouth, how about just counting to 10 in your head?
Yes. Yes.
Just take a moment to
Yes.
count to 10. I
Right.
guarantee you what was getting ready to come out of your mouth will probably not come out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing, if you don't want to count to 10, just take that deep breath
take a
we were
deep
talking
breath.
about earlier.
That's right. That's right.
You know-
totally agree with that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right. What about exercising together?
That was one of the
With
things.
that going to the gym, and that's encouraging each other to
Yes.
go to the gym, right?
I gave
Bicycling.
My husband, absolutely. Yeah, I gave my husband a challenge last year because he had kind of gotten away from exercising, and I really wanted him to get back to it. So for our anniversary, he asked me, what did I want to do? I said, you know what? For a whole week, I want us to do something active. So
right.
every day we did
Ooh,
a
so you
different
got in the
active
habit.
activity. We did racquetball one day, basketball another. We went on the
all
golf
right.
range and hit golf balls. We walked around the lake because that was something that I wanted to do. Golf is his thing, so I went on the range with him. Walking around the lake, feeding the ducks was my thing.
Okay.
And then and then we played tennis. And so, you know, we got out and we did something active every day. And it was a way to just encourage him, and both of us, to just be more active, but do something fun to be active.
I like the fact that you said do it for a week, because you're developing a habit.
Habits.
Yeah, and that's something we have to do. You got to be consistent.
Yeah.
We got a call? All right. Hello? Hello? No. Oh, shucks. Go ahead. All right. Not coming through yet. We're not sure who it is. Well, go ahead. Come finish.
Right. So you have that accountability partner, you have that companion, you have that support to help you eat healthy, to help you exercise more, and also to have more positive conversations. One ways that couples have greater mental health is that you have someone to de-stress with, when to come home and talk about the stresses of your day.
Right.
So you know,
Just
like you were
get it out.
saying, you know, you don't always want to dump things on somebody when you're going through, but if you're dumping small portions per day, you get to de-stress and talk about the things that you're going through during the day, then it doesn't pile up.
Right.
And so you don't get into that really deep, stressful times in your relationship.
Right.
If you're having those conversations, it's important for couples to have daily conversations about what's going on with them, what's going on in their lives, you know what I mean? And so those positive conversations can really encourage the couples and help them have that positive.
Go ahead. You know, I'm sorry. The children popped up in my mind. It affects the children.
Oh, my goodness,
so therefore, you know, you're showing the kids how you deal with each other too.
That's
Because if you have children,
Yeah.
we have to learn how to show our children how to de-stress. As man and wife, you are their example. So yeah, that's a great idea. We got a phone. We got that call. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, that sounds like Connie. That sounds like Connie. How you doing, Connie?
I'm good. How are you doing?
We're doing absolutely great. I'm glad you got a chance to call in, and you're going to let us know what you do, right? To de-stress. Because Connie is one of our Sister for Sister Network members, and she's Peggy's sister. Woo-hoo. Okay, Sister
Well,
Connie.
first of all, I want to wish all the mothers a happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Same to you.
You're welcome. And what I do to de-stress is I get a couple of puzzles, and I just sit at my table. When I get off from work, I come home and I just fix a puzzle, or I do a crossword puzzle.
Yeah. And I like that walking. You told us about the walking too, and I actually did it yesterday. I was so excited.
Yeah, I do a 3-mile walk right in my bedroom.
Right in the bedroom. See, you don't even have to go out the room.
Huh?
I like that. People, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but if you just starting out walking, I start off with just a mile. And then build your way up to 2 miles, and then build your way up to 3 miles. But it's just very helpful. And sometimes if you can't make it outdoors, you can do it right in the comfort of your home, in your living room. Move that table over, move that living room chair over, and make it safe.
Right. Would you say, no excuses?
No excuses.
No excuses. You can start in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And
right in my bedroom, yeah. But if you have a living room space, move some furniture.
Right.
Adjust some stuff.
That's exercise too, moving the furniture.
I know.
Yep.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Connie, for calling in.
You're welcome.
And give Mom our love and happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day. Thanks so much.
See ya. Thank you so much.
If I just want to, if you don't mind, you mentioned talking to your spouse when you call me about what you went through, and you mentioned writing those down. It's just like when you have, it's like a computer. You have a computer. Computer has a memory, has a maximum amount of memory. When that memory got filled up, how fast can that computer function?
That's true.
They cannot function right. When you get to that memory, it slows down.
Right.
It slows you down.
That's
so
right.
now to do that, it's so many ways you can do. You mentioned, okay, you get home, you talk to your spouse about what happens and all that stuff. Basically, what you do, you kind of transferring that out of your memory and put it somewhere else. And then when you write those down, which is very important, I do that a lot. Every time I'm overwhelmed, every time you overwhelm me anything, every day I do that. I'm overwhelmed. The first thing I do, I take a piece of paper and pen. I write everything down that I need to do. So now I get that off my mind in the paper.
Yeah. That's right.
So that is
Taking
very
it
important.
Off your mind
and all that. So now you can work on whatever problem one at a time.
And that's why I say too, when you write, every time you write, you should always feel light. Every time.
Yeah. And I know I need to write more.
Every time.
I need to write. I'm learning more. Here's the book now. I've been writing everything down. I'm trying to get in the habit and keep it in the same book.
Exactly.
You know, so I just do a daily, you know, no matter what it is, I just kind of keep it, you know, get you a beautiful book. You know, get something you really like and you want to carry. Make you want to pick it up, you know, because you know, we multitask, and those things start falling off. It's like everything is on that plate. Oh, you say, oh, my plate is full. Yeah, whoop, there you go. So something is going to fall off of that plate. So write it down. We don't want you to try to internal.
When you accomplish that, just take
A highlighter.
Hey, I completed that task.
That's right. That's a good idea.
What John was talking about is what I do. When you're overwhelmed, you got all these million and one things on your mind. I just start writing. I put mine in my phone a lot, but I also write it in my book.
Right.
Because putting it in my phone is good, it's there, but it's different when you write it down.
Write it down, right. That energy. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for, I hope you enjoyed this show. Give everybody a hand. And this is going to continue. We'd like to thank you for coming and watching us today. We'd like to thank our engineer, Ron. Woo! Our producer, Dante. Woo! Our executive producer, Y. Thank Peggy and everyone who's involved in my wonderful, wonderful co-host today. And feel free to give us a call. And you know, remember, the second Saturday is Health and Wellness Saturday. So until we meet again, VoxWave, VoxWave.com, VoxWave, without the E.com. See ya until next week. And next week, education and wellness. So stay tuned for education
and mentoring.
Education and mentoring. Don't forget. All right. And I just want to let you know, next month we're going to talk about lupus. So stay tuned. Tell your friends and family. We're going to talk about lupus for health and wellness next month. See ya. God bless you. Happy
Even though we made this